During the time of making videos for YouTube, I've always been looking for different ways and different angles of shots for the items that I'm trying to display. Trying to use tripods every time, it can get a little awkward and difficult to get the shot that you need. So I spent a few hours trawling through the internet trying to find out what other people use, how they do it, you know where I'm coming from. So in the end, it seemed the items that I needed and wanted that would be of use to me were from Manfrotto. These seemed to be the best. I did go on YouTube and have a look at various videos, and I did see some of the horror stories from some of the cheaper equipment that really were not up to the mark. So the Manfrotto equipment seemed to be the best, strongest and most reliable. It was a little bit more expensive than other brands, but you only get what you pay for these days. So what I settled for in the end was a variable friction arm with a bracket on, or a magic arm as some people call it, a super clamp without a stud, an extension arm that plugs into the super clamp, and finally a camera mounting bracket. I did need two of these friction arms, one for either end of my tables, so I bought two sets of everything. There was instructions for each of the items, but to be honest that was not really needed. It was self-explanatory and easy to assemble. The first of the items I put together was the actual friction arm. It does not come with a knob in the centre, so you do have to put that on. There's a small tab that you need to remove before screwing on the big knob. This big knob, when tightened up, will secure and tighten everything and stop it from moving. The bracket was the next thing that I fitted onto the arm. This does have a 1/4-20 on it, which will enable you to fix it to any other accessories that you've got or straight onto your camera. Then finally the super clamp. Now this is quite an amazing clamp. They seem to be well used within the industry in various studios. It does have the ability to clamp onto many things. In my case, I have a big sturdy table that I use, so clamping onto that was no issue or problem. The main function for the variable friction arms for me was to mount cameras on there, so the quick release plate I swapped to the type that I like to use on all of my equipment. I will leave a link in the description just in case you're interested in that one as well. Having the friction plate on all my tripods and selfie sticks and everything, it's so easy just to remove the camera and swap it from one piece of equipment to another. The type of cameras I use are basically handycams and SLRs, and these are relatively light compared to other cameras. There does not seem to be any information anywhere with regards to the total weight that these friction arms will take. But looking at the construction of them and feel when you've done them, you feel as though they are going to take even heavier cameras than what I use. On the clamp there is a V bracket that can be used when clamping to any of the tables. Originally when I fitted the first clamp on, there was a ridge on my table, so I used without the V clamp to clamp onto the table, as you can see here. But fitting the V clamp on, it was even easier to put the clamp onto the table. So it was a simple case to put the new clamp on and swap over the gear. I know when you first get equipment and put your valuable cameras on there, there is that little bit of mistrust, but to be honest, because of the construction of all of this, I was quite confident and happy to put my gear on here. Having the ability to use the super clamp on tubing with the lighting rings I've got, it connected on there with no problem at all. Depending upon the type of rig that you're connecting to, if there is movement there you will get some shake. What you must remember is you've got the length of the arm, the weight of the arm and the camera, so there's a fair amount of torque on that clamp and what it's clamping to. I think if anything was going to break or bend, it would be the tubing that the friction clamp and arrangement is connected to. Having the ability now to maneuver the camera around to get that shot that you wouldn't normally get is brilliant. To add a little bit of height to the setup, I did get some extension arms and I needed a couple of camera mounting studs. The camera mounting studs that I got replaced the ones in the extension arms, which were not really suitable for what I wanted to use them for. So as you see here, I extended the friction arm ball joint end with this brass camera mounting stud. I used the 1/4 inch end of the mounting stud. The 3/8 end was not going to be used. A pair of grips to make sure that it was secure. I didn't want it to move as there is going to be a little bit of pressure here when in use. This will fit nicely into the extension arm. There is a little tiny bit of trial and error when you're trying to find out which is the best position, so you'll find you'll be manoeuvring, changing, altering each time just to get it in the right place for you. As with the friction arm, the extension arm will plug directly into the super clamp and tighten up. So now the camera using the extension arm and friction arm together is in positions now that I would never normally be able to get. How I ever managed without these friction arms in the past, I'll never know. I hope you found this information of use to you. Thank you for watching.